Hello, and welcome to the Expanse. We finally got rid of the crazy quack. Oh no you didn't. I'll be back, one day. We've gotten rid of him for now, and so you'll be dealing with me today. And probably from now on, the semi-crazy quack. Today we're going to be looking at For the Storm. Because contrary to popular belief, there is a lot of lore packed into that story. And a lot of things to explore in regards to the future stories of World of Warcraft. So what we're going to be doing is explaining some lore, or my view of some lore that is given, as well as speculate on what some of this lore indicates for the future of Azeroth. To start things off, we're going to be looking at the light, which in my opinion was one of the main reasons for why this book was created, as the amount of information you gain about the light and what it kind of does and its effects and how it kind of operates is, well, to me, astounding. And it gives a very, very interesting insight into what we're going to be dealing with whenever we do have to fight the light. The way this is done is through faith and hope. And I know these are usually the same thing, but in case of Before the Storm, there is a very strong push to separate both and give indications as to what the difference between hope and faith are. The reasons why this is done should hopefully become clear by the end. However, before we can get there, we need to continue on to the more technical side of this discussion. Hope. Definition. Feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen. Faith. Complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Both of these concepts generate the light. However, one is generated internally and is a lot harder to manifest, while the other is technically generated externally and is drawn upon. Hope is the internally generated light. If a person hopes for something strongly enough, the light will manifest. Anduin's hope for peace overall and his specific hope in Before the Storm in regards to bringing the Desolate Council and their family members together. With that hope, he is able to generate the light. He is able to manifest it. However, the catch with manifesting this internally generated light is that the user requires the will to do so. As in, they need the will to keep their hope alive against all odds, and through that will, hope becomes their power, it becomes their strength, and the light manifests itself. Now, to address the very obvious conundrum with hope, hope can be used in unsavory ways. You can hope for negative things to happen to people. However, there is a specific example in Before the Storm which indicates hope is very specifically related to the light. The example used is Chi-Ji the Crane, the wild god of hope, who manifests the light, however does not seem to have a connection to the holy light of the church or the Naho. In this example, Anduin has Jaina dying in his arms, and he hopes she will get better, and through what everyone says, through all the doubts everyone has about Jaina surviving, he maintains his hope with his will, and the light manifests. From there, Chi-Ji arrives and kind of gives some lessons about hope overall, etc, etc. But the main point gained from this example in Before the Storm is if a person hopes for something enough and they have the will to maintain it, that hope will become their strength. Overall, just so you get an idea of where this is going, this type of light, this type of internal generation of light, is the quote-unquote good version of light. And this is where faith comes in, as you can put faith in various things. some of the unsavory kind, etc., etc. However, in World of Warcraft, once again, there seems to be this distinct affinity with faith and light. Now, with that said, and everything said about hope and will, I want you to think about what would happen if you started to replace your will with faith, or you started to replace your hope with faith. If you replaced your will, you start to become reliant on your faith for strength, to allow your hopes to happen. However, your faith mightn't agree with your hopes. And then, if you replace your hope with your faith, your hope suddenly isn't your own. Your hope becomes that of the faith. Whatever the faith hopes for is your hope as well. Now, in small doses, having faith in anything is a good thing. It generally gives you an idea of how you want to live your life. However, in overdose, in using your faith so much that it becomes a crutch, that it replaces your will, debatably the source of your strength, and your hope, debatably the source of your purpose, you start to wade into very murky waters. This is where the idea of faith, and it being an externally generated form of the light, intermix. But it's also where the Naru and the purest form of the light start to rear their ugly heads. In Before the Storm, through its light's characters, we start to see faith slowly seeping over certain characters' hopes and will. And frankly, this is going to severely screw over certain characters. And in contrast, through the Horde characters, in particularly Slyvannis, Before the Storm shows how lack of faith and a lack of hope can also be extremely detrimental. The following parts will explain how characters are specifically affected by this notion. However, before that, I need to explain the Naru, or the one Naru that was present in Before the Storm, Sahara, because most lore surrounding the Naru is outside of Before the Storm, and without context, the Naru seem pretty okay. However, with context, in particularly with this notion of faith, we start to see a glaring image of what the Naru are truly like. So, the long and short in relation to the Naru is that they are apparently eternally benevolent creatures that were created at the beginning of the universe from clouds of fractured light. And where that sounds like a relatively good creature to get to know, the problem with the Naru is that they are the polar opposite of the Void. And the reason that's an issue is because the Void is an extreme of consumption, the extreme of taking, the extreme of the end of everything. Which means the Naru and what they were created from and what they are made out of is an extreme version of expansion, of giving, of the beginning of the universe. And both will end up either consuming and or enveloping everything, because they do not comprehend one or the other. Now, with this similarity made, both the Light and the Void operate in very similar but very distinct manners, as their goal is the same, but they both have very different tenets. And after reading Before the Storm, all I can say is where the Void is horrible in what it does, at least it doesn't lie about it. The Light and the Naru, on the other hand, I see them as being a lot more insidious. And the reason we know this is because of Illidan. And basically this comes back to his second most important line, and that is, "I have my scars." What Illidan is referring to when he says his scars is basically his experiences. His scars are who he is, and every creature is their experiences. So, with that knowledge, the reason why this is very revealing about the light and the Naru is that the light wishes to heal everything. The Naru are an extreme version of the light. They are eternally benevolent creatures. So they do wish to heal your scars. However, just to repeat, your scars are your experiences. So if you take away a person's scars, you take away their experiences. And no, not literally. They don't wipe them from time itself. They would actually have to have the ability to time travel, which is a different story altogether. However, the main point is that what they do to erase your scars is take away the one thing that you can take away from someone's scars, you can take away from someone's experiences, and that is a person's emotional reaction to a scar. Think about it like this. You have experienced a myriad of things in your life, and with all those experiences come some form of emotion. Whether it be happy, sad, hopeful, or fearful, you have an emotion attached to those experiences. Now, with all your negative experiences, all those experiences of fear, despair, and the sort, imagine what you would be like if all of those experiences were wiped away from your person, completely disappeared, and all you could feel is happiness. You could only feel hope, faith, compassion, no other emotions except those. I personally argue that if that happens to you, you would lose who you are. You would not be yourself anymore. You would have what you gained in life, the experiences you gained in life, ripped away from you. And what would be left is an eternally benevolent creature that only knows the joys of hope, compassion, and other emotions without understanding how overcoming fear, despair, and other negative emotions can be a very positive experience. And this is why the light is so insidious. For where the void may kill you and try to give you gifts of despair and death and leave you in eternal torment, which is no way to live or die, the light would never have you die, and instead have you live as a lobotomized it that does not have a mere moniker of what you were. You, as a person, would cease to exist, and what would be left is a eternally benevolent husk, which, to me, is just as bad as eternal torment. If you're starting to catch on to what I'm going on about, and you've read the book, and you've either read the excerpts or heard about what happened to Kaylee Menethil, then you can probably understand why I think what happened to her is extremely disgusting, and why I personally cannot wait to start hunting Naru. Because at the very least, the Forsaken and the Undead have parts of themselves, parts that were not erased. How all of this connects to Before the Storm is through the pages you start to see how the light influences people in its healing, in its most extreme cases. And you basically get a very good indication as to what the light does to maintain control. And the two main ways it maintains control is through manipulation and addiction. And just to restate it, if you've read the book, I'm hoping you can genuinely see why I think what happened to Kelly Amenethil when she got resurrected is absolutely disgusting. But to round off to the more important question, why do the Naru need mortals if they wish to be eternally benevolent spreaders of the light? Well, as is proven outside of Before the Storm, if a soul is bright enough, it can reignite a Naru. It can bring back a Naru from the void. And so the question becomes, do Naru need light-infused spirits to maintain their holy form? But that is the last bit of speculation for this video. In the next part, I'll be sticking more to Before the Storm, and I will definitely be exploring these ideas of addiction and manipulation, as certain characters most definitely show the ramifications of both. And from there, we'll see. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on Before the Storm, so leave a comment if you'd like, or come join me in the Shinies and Lucky Dudes Discord. The link will be down below. I'm always open to chat about lore and speculation. I find it extremely fun. If you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, hit the bell. I have a Twitter. Follow it if you'd like. And until next time, have a nice day.